In this video, I'm going to share with you how to read the token secret value from a property file rather than from a Java class file. So if I look at this token secret, we have hard-coded the value into a Java security constants file. You can leave it as is and your application will still work, but I personally prefer that things like usernames and passwords and token secrets can be configurable via the property file. So, and the property file that we have in our application is located in the source main resources folder, here application properties. We have already worked with this file where we configured the username and password to access our database. So I would like to add one more property here, and that will be token secret. And I will copy the value that we have defined in security constants, this one, into my application properties. Like this. Now the next step is to learn how to read these properties from the Java code that we have in our application. And for that we will create a separate class which will be responsible for reading property files. And since we are reading a token secret from that file, and most probably later on you will want to read other security related properties, I will create it under security package and I will call it app properties. Create new Java class and I will call it app properties, like this. App property class will need to be a component so that it can auto-wire some objects that we need to read the property file. So I'll add component annotation and I'll import it. And there are different ways how we can read properties in Spring applications, and one way is to use the environment object. So I will define a new class field, and the data type of this class field is environment, like this. And I will give it a very short name. Let me import environment, and it needs to come from org Spring Framework core environment. And for environment object to be available in our app properties, we will need to auto-wire it, like this. Let me import auto-wired. Okay, so now when we have environment available in our app properties, we can use it to read the property values. And I'll create a method that needs to be public string, and I will call it get token secret. And all it needs to do is to return the value we can read from the property file. So I'll use environment get property and then the name of the property that I want to return. And in our case, if we go back to application property file, it's called token secret. So I'll copy the name of the property value key and I'll paste it here like this. So now we can use this file to actually read any properties that we can add to the application property file here. So now when we have the application properties that can read the token secret, let's go into security constants where we have hard-coded the token secret value and remove this and add a method that will use the app properties to read the token secret value. And I have prepared a little code snippet. I'll paste it here. Basically, it is a function that uses app properties, but because this security constant is not a component, we're not going to auto-wire this security constants into our authentication or authorization filter. So for us to be able to access components that were created by Spring Framework, like application property is a component, so for us to be able to access classes like this from the security constants, we will need to access it via the Spring application context, which we have created earlier. It is in our apps WS folder, and this is the application context that we use to access beans which were created by Spring Framework. So let me import our Spring application context. And that Spring application context will get a bean with the name app properties. And then we use this app properties object to get the token secret. We're simply calling its name. So if I click to open its declaration, I come to the function we have just created that uses environment object to read the property from the application properties file. Okay, so now when we have updated security constants, let's save this file. Please notice that I have marked this method as a static so that I don't have to create a new instance of security constants. So now I will go to authentication filter. It now shows an error because we have deleted the token secret from security constants, and instead of accessing token secret, I will now call a function which is called getTokenSecret, like this. I'll save it and I will go to authorization filter, and I will also remove token secret and I'll call function getTokenSecret. Okay, I will now save it, and this is it. We have updated our application so that authorization filter and authentication filter do not read the token secret from the hard-coded class instance in security constants, but rather read the value of token secret from application properties, which we can always update. Okay, so now let's run this application, debug it, and see if it works. So I will go back to my authorization filter, and let me set a breakpoint right here. And I will go to authentication filter as well. And I will set a breakpoint right here, so that I can see the value that getTokenSecret returns. Okay, and I will click on debug to debug my application. My application is up and running, and I'll bring up Postman, and I will choose one of the ready-to-use HTTP requests. For example, here that where we're sending HTTP post to perform user authentication to log in. Let's check the headers, body. Okay, and let's send the request. Yes. And here's my breakpoint. So this one is where we're attempting authentication. I will remove this breakpoint. We don't need it actually. Let's continue. And we get an error. Let's look at the error. What does it say? No bean named app properties. Okay, I forgot to make app properties available as a bean. So let's stop this and let's switch to a Spring editor, and I will go to my mobile app WS application, and I will need to make my app properties available as a Spring bean. To do that, I will need to create a public method which returns app properties. And doesn't matter how I call this method, I can call it get app properties like this. But what's important, it needs to return a new instance of app properties. And what also very important is that it has to be a bean like this, just like we did for Spring application context. So let me import app properties, save this, and debug my application again. Okay, it's up and running. I will switch to Postman and send this request one more time. We got back a response. Why we should have triggered a breakpoint? Do we have a new error? Let's scroll up. No bean app properties is available. Oh, I see why. This is because we did not give our bean a name. So we need to give our bean a name, which is app properties, like this. Okay, so let's try it again. So I'll stop my debugging and I run it again. Okay, my app is up and running. Go back to Postman, send it, and this time we get a breakpoint. So let's scroll it a little bit, and it looks like security constants did return a token. Let's try to evaluate this expression. I'll select it and then bring up the menu and click on inspect. And here's my token. Here's my token secret that is returned from this getTokenSecret function. Okay, so it's working. Let's just play it and play it. And we should get back a response, which is 200, and it should contain the signed authorization header with the JSON Web Token signed with our token secret. Okay, so it's working. Let's continue.